To make curtains for the vehicle, I simply took the curtain hangers that they sell at Walmart. These look like U-shaped metal beams, and bent it out straight and put holes on here and screwed it in. Now what I did here was I put a little hook, a large hook, and screwed it in to help hold some weight here. Because right here, I'm going to have about 2 or 3 hangers where I'm going to hang things like jackets and whatnot. So there's a little bit of a closet space right here on this side and some storage underneath. That's so I can hang up closets. I used to have the closet on this side, but I moved it because of the reconfiguration on the design of the vehicle. But you can see we now have our rear curtains up, and they would shut like this. And right here, we're just going to have our clothes and stuff hanging, our jackets. So from outside, this black against the black glass here will look like there's nothing there. You know, they won't be able to look in. I'm going to go ahead and finish hanging up the rest of the curtains, and I'll show you what it looks like here in a moment. One of the issues with working on the fly is that you're working on the fly, so you didn't really think things out. And you just have to adapt as you go along. Originally, the house battery system was mounted on that side, but the seat was over here, and this back cabinet was on the other side. But because I've moved the cabinet on this side so that we would have visibility through that side window for safety issues, I've had to move everything, including the house battery. I wanted to put the house battery there, but I found that because we moved the seat to get access to this drawer unit, that side became blocked off and you couldn't mount the battery system. Well, you could mount the battery system, but then you wouldn't be able to put in this top drawer. And I liked having a top drawer there for tools and whatnot. So we're moving the whole battery unit here. And that means making a new house ground or negative connection for the battery. And I had thought of running it under there to this screw like before on the other side, but I think then you got a cable that people can walk over. It's going to be better to run it directly under here. So I've ripped this open, and I'm going to drill a little hole here and make sure I sand that down to bare metal, because we had issues last time with not making good enough contact. So once I get the hole there, we're going to sand it down, and we're going to run a little cable that will go up to the negative connection on the battery, and that should complete the circuit when I hook up the positive. Now that I've sanded this area here, I don't know if you can see I've sanded all the way down to bare metal right there. We're going to be attaching this wire with a screw right there so that this part touches that bare metal to make good metal to metal contact. And this is going to be our house system ground for the battery here. Basically, this is going to go to the negative terminal or the negative connection on the inverter, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to plug it into the negative on the inverter. I have hooked up the inverter to the house battery, but the house battery right now, even though it's connected to the switch at the front of the vehicle right there has not been connected yet. So the system is running off the power from the house battery, which isn't hooked up to anything right now, so it's not able to charge up. But you can see we've got the system working. When I turn it on, it's pulling power from this battery right now, which is EverStart Max 29 DC, 114 amp hour. And we have basically the negative hooked up to the negative, the positive or the red hooked up to the positive over there. Then you're looking at these wires come out. That goes to the 12 volt DC outlets. We got 3 of those available. And then this wire right here goes to the vehicle battery. Actually goes to the switch over here on this side, which is then connected to the vehicle battery. And this other wire right here is the one that we just created the ground for, that goes right under here. Once we connect the under the hood, the cable here that runs from the switch over there, the system would be fully operational. Right now we can use it, but it would run off the house battery without an ability to charge the house battery back up. I have pulled this inline fuse off rusty iron van to be put back onto little blue 2. It originally came from little blue 2, and I put it in rusty iron van for its electrical system, the house battery system. So now that we're dismantling rusty iron van, we're going to use the components from there back in a little blue 2. But for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's basically a fuse that's like large size and can handle more amperage. So this is 30 amps that we're putting in here. And what's going to happen is I'm going to connect this side over here, and this other side right here, I'm going to connect to that line right there. See that little yellow cap? That's a 10 gauge wire that I pulled underneath the vehicle out to this house switch right here. And when you turn the switch on, it basically allows the electricity to flow from that battery through the switch up to the inverter here, and then back down into the house battery. And the significance of that is it also works the other way. It allows this power to go through from the battery to the inverter up to the battery of the vehicle as well. That allows you to do an emergency jump start if that battery dies and this one is still good. So the switch is what I use to connect or disconnect the two batteries. And the reason you want to be able to do that is when you are using the system here, it pulls electricity from the house battery, and to charge it back up, you're going to need some way of charging it, either a generator, a solar panel, or an inverter. And in this case, we're using the vehicle's inverter, an alternator. In this case, we're using the vehicle's alternator to charge everything up. So the alternator will go through here, generate electricity, charge up the vehicle battery, as well as send some electricity down this way to the switch. And we have the switch on, it'll connect through, go through the inverter, and then down to the house battery for the vehicle, and charge the system up. Now, we had to connect the negative from there as well to the terminal up here, because you have to have a complete circuit. So let's go ahead and hook this in and see if we can't get the system working correctly. I have finished wiring in the inline fuse right here to the positive and hooked it up to the connection that goes to the wire that is pulled through the switch, which in turn connects to the inverter, which in turn connects to the house battery. So at this point, we need to check to see if it works. Right now, the switch to connect the two systems is off. So when we turn on the inverter, we'll see how much power is being is stored in the house battery, which is 12.1, which is not fully charged. So what I'm going to do is, that's how much voltage is in the system right now, which is 12.1 right there. But when I switch this on, you should see a change. Now it says 12.3 because it's taking it from the vehicle battery as well. So the vehicle battery is at about 12.3 or a little bit higher. I am going to go ahead and start the system up, start the car. I turned the switch off just to play it safe. Alright, I turned the vehicle on, which means electricity should be generated right now through our alternator right here, sending the electricity up through the vehicle battery into that wire right there, which is going to the house battery. So it's charging up the vehicle battery. Right now it's off. You can see the system says 12.1, but when I switch it on, it should jump up pretty high. So now it says 13.1, which means the system is charging, and that will keep going up. Usually when I have the two systems connected and the system is fully charged, it'll say like 13.6 or 13.8, somewhere in that range. But when you shut it off, it drops back down. When the 12 volt battery is fully charged, it usually says 12.8. You can see it says 12.3, 12.4. That's not how much power is in the battery right now. That's the electricity, the voltage that's running through the system right now. And what's happening is it's charging up that house battery right now. So it looks like our system's up. The bedding is pretty much completed, and the storage is completed. And now we have the ability to generate electricity, so we can actually set up the rice cooker, inverter cooking system. And the vehicle is pretty much operational. And all this occurred within one day. With the house battery system up and running, Little Blue 3 is pretty much fully operational. It's just a matter of me organizing things, reorganizing my drawers and supplies and whatnot, but the system is about 95% done. Pretty much 100% as far as the build. Just need to put in a couple of finishing touches and safety devices like the carbon monoxide detector, and just a couple of little finishing things like finishing those windows, which I'm going to have to get new the U-beam thingies to run across because I had cut them before to make them fit into rusty iron van, which had a shorter window base. So I'll need 2 of those, one for that side and one for this side. Now with this system done, I pretty much can put the rice cooker right here. You can see the rice cooker there, and we have a 120 volt wire, that cable, plug that we can just plug into this system and turn on the inverter to cook. I also have a little portable 12 volt cooler here. It's not a full-blown refrigerator, but it's like thermoelectric, and what it'll do is when I turn it on, it cools this part right here down and helps to keep things cool. I think it gets to like 30 degrees below ambient temperature, so if it's like 100 degrees out of here, it'll be 70 in there. If it's like 80 degrees in here, it'll be like 50 in there. So that should keep food somewhat cool when you're driving. But the main reason I have it hooked up like that is so that when I have ice, it'll make the ice last longer. And in previous videos, I show you how to get free ice. So make sure you catch those videos. I'll probably do another video talking about it because we have a lot of new people who have just recently tuned in. But if you're interested in items like this one's kind of beat up and old. And I bought it at Goodwill for like, I think $5. But you can get them brand new off Amazon. I have the links for it on this video, so make sure you check out the pinned links for items that can be used to build a vehicle such as this. Those links include 12 volt coolers like this, the rice cooker, power inverters, and I think I even included links for house battery systems. But you can see we have fans that can plug into the 12 volt. Even though the batteries right now aren't connected because the switch is off, we still have electricity coming through here. I don't even have to have the inverter on because the 12 volt, you can see it's blue there, it's still, see the blue light? It's on because the battery's hooked right up to it, so like the fan right now, I can turn it on. Okay, it didn't come on, I have it plugged in or something. Let's see, it says on, and let's see why it's not coming on. So I tell you that and it doesn't want to come on. Maybe this fan just died on me. I unplugged this unit here to this fan. They didn't want to come on, and I plugged the other one in. And you can see the fan is going back and forth. So DC power, 12 volt, is coming through. So I suspect either the switch went bad, or I blew a fuse in here, which I'm getting ready to take apart and look at the fuse to see if I need to replace the fuse. It never fails. I know you probably can't see it on here, but this is the fuse from inside the fan unit. It blew. There's a break in the fuse right there, so that's why it wasn't working. The unit does work, but that fuse right there blew, so I'll need to get a replacement fuse for this fan right here. Alrighty, I took out the broken fuse and put in a fuse from another cigarette lighter thingy that I had, and you can see the fan is now operational. So we basically have 2 working fans. Turn that one on. That will allow me to really stay cool in here if I need to. You can see we can run that fan and this fan at the same time off the house battery system, and can even put in a charger or something else. In addition, I can also run a charger here. Now this does have a USB charger, but this one's broken. I don't think it works. So we have 120 volts, 12 volts, and USB available, and we can run them with the car off. But of course, it'll drain the house battery, so that will need to be charged back up. But for a place like Florida or wherever where it's kind of hot, having 2 fans running all night is really nice for sleeping. Until next time, everybody, I want to thank you for tuning in.